There we go. Okay, guys, welcome back. This is going to be your part 3. Now, this is going to be a very late in the game. This is a level 75 spot. You will need a boat for most of this fishing, just because you want to move around a fair bit. But if you do a full day here and you fill your bag, you'll make 200,000 easy every time. Depending on what you fish for. 100,000 if you're doing the Nile perch, which is really good. But if you're going to do Goliath tigerfish and or the African tigerfish, to make 200,000 is simple. I've had upwards to 250,000. Now, I'm sure if you were getting rid of anything that's not a trophy and just doing only trophies or only uniques or whatever, trying to fill your bag with mostly those, you're going to be able to fill and make more money just because they're worth more, right? There's 3 spots I know that work really good for the Goliaths, and I'll show them here. Goliaths and the normal ones. And then after that, let's quickly change that, please. No, come on. There we go. We'll show you the 3 spots for the tigerfish, and then we will show you the other spot for the Niles. They don't make you as much money, but if you're looking for Niles, we'll throw it in this video too, just because it's pretty simple because they're so close together. The first spot is here. You throw by those 2 markers over there using large minnows, you'll get them. I personally am not a huge fan of this spot. It hasn't produced as much as the other ones, but it does work if that's what you're after. I like the other 2 spots just because they're close together, easier to switch from, because as you know, if you've played this a lot, if you exhaust a spot, so if you're always there, the spot becomes a little slow, so I like to switch back and forth between a couple. That way it just keeps it fresh and you're constantly catching fish, because if you're not out catching fish, it can get annoying and boring or whatever, and you're like, what's going on, what am I doing wrong, right? Whereas it could just be you've caught all the trophies that are in that allotted time period, or all the uniques or whatever else. So there's a little circle. I don't know exactly how it works, because I'm just learning that now. But there's a little circle roughly where you can catch uniques and trophies in that little circle, and you got to move to outside of that circle to go and catch more uniques and trophies of that fish in that time period. And each fish has a different time period, so it's hard to tell. But your Nile perch is going to be roughly where that boat is. There is a marker in the water. You see where that boat is, that marker? My marker behind their long red marker, just cast out there using large minnows, small tilapia, anything like that, and you'll catch them. For your Goliaths and stuff, go to the left side of the marker. I normally like to, you can get on here, I think, and I think you can spawn on one of these rocks. I don't think it's this one though. But I normally just take my boat. I just nose it up right here. That way I don't have to get out of it and I can move quicker. But I go and I roughly take my boat, line it up there, go back. Because these fish are larger, set the anchor. And then I just go and cast, because the water drifts your bait that way. So to the right of where I casted, I like to cast to the left and let it go over top of where my markers are, so where the fish are going to be. And then the other thing is I do a float, and then I also do a bottom. And the bottom one, because it's on the bottom, I put it right there because it's not going to move as much because it's weighted down, right? So that's how I set up those 2 rods. And then what I do is I will transition on this rod between a walker and a flat spoon. This other marker I have back here, anywhere in there, you can also catch them too. You don't catch the Goliath over there. That's only the African ones. The African tigerfish, I think it is. But then you can just do this and wait for those to go down. And you're going to make a ton of money catching these fish. And you're just going to do the walking the whole time. Switch it up though, and look at that, already on the bottom rod. Now to switch on a boat, that R1 trick I told you is how you're going to have to do it. Okay? I will say the bottom rod is more prominent during the day, and the float rod I like more at night because the bottom rod catches a lot of catfish at night, which are very heavy, take up a lot of room in your bag, and they're not worth as much as one of these smaller fish is. So, but depending on what species it is, which I think this is going to be a Goliath, but we'll see. No, just an African. That's a normal African, right? Tigerfish. 23 pounds, it made you $5,500, okay? One Nile perch, young, which would be 70 pounds, that will make you roughly the same, but it's 70 pounds. So this is a much easier way to make a lot of money if you have the time. Because this can cost you a lot of IRL time to actually get a full bag. That's the only thing I will say. It costs a lot of time to fill the bag just because the fish are a lot smaller, but they're worth about the same. To get a unique or a trophy, you'll be making $20,000. I also cast back here too because they are back here. You'll see them jumping depending on the time of day too, FYI. But always remember to look back and check your float too. But you're just going to hold your R2 button and press L2 at the same time, and you'll see the fish come up. Now, I find this is very difficult to catch them on artificial. I haven't figured out see them jumping there, a really good technique for this. I'm sure somebody has, but I've noticed a lot of YouTube videos on Fishing Planet are really outdated. They're, a couple of years old, and I don't know if, you don't know if they've been patched or anything like that. Like, if anything's changed, right? So, if I can make a couple of YouTube videos that help you guys out, hopefully finding easy ways to make a lot of money that are for this year, would be nice. So, that's what I'm doing. This is slower fishing than the other ones I showed you, but it is a lot of money. This is where you're going to need that big rod, like I was saying, it was overkill for the pike and stuff like that. This is where you're going to need that bigger gear, FYI. But this is where I go when I need to make a bunch of money. The only thing is this is level 75, so if you're trying to not have to do that, see, 10,000 for a trophy, and it's only 28 pounds. If you're trying not to get to level 75, you will have to buy a pack. See, I'm only level 60, which is what I did. But if you're trying not to buy anything, this is going to be a long grind to get here. There are grinds in between the pike and here that I've heard about. I have not tried them, and I don't know 100% about them. There's another YouTuber on YouTube who does a lot of it. What's his name? He streams on YouTube. I'm drawing a blank. BZ Hub. He does a lot of stuff on this. He streams on YouTube. He does that sort of thing. But yeah, BZ Hub puts out a lot of really good content for this. So if you guys are looking for tips, go to him. I find he is really good. But if they don't take the walker, we'll try one more out here real quick just to see. We'll try the flat spoon or whatever they call it. And if they don't take that, I find that it's really fussy. That float could go down here too in a second. We'll have to see. You're just gonna let these sink to the bottom. And then what I've noticed works the best is just a lift and drop for these guys. I've had my most amount of luck with the spoon using a lift and drop with these guys. I don't know why, but I've had my luck most with this. I do find you will catch them better at night. At least a couple of my experiences have shown that. But I also don't know. I find that they're really fussy. And I don't know why that is, at least towards artificial. But the other spot, which I'll show you here in a second, we'll just reel up because they don't want to cooperate today apparently, is going to be over on the other side there where you see that other boat, the end of the rod tip there. I like to rotate between the two if one gets dry. So if one's not producing a lot, I like to go to the other and just rotate between the two just until one gets hot, and then stay there until it gets dry and keep moving, right? This is why I said having a boat is preferable, because you can just quickly go and take your boat and drive over. Those marks there, as you see, are for Nile perch as well. Fuck, didn't even see that. You can basically catch Nile perch anywhere if you're casting towards the waterfall. There's a couple other spots that I've heard of, haven't tried them out, but it could be worth a try. I don't know, but the other spot is up in there. So we're gonna go, and what I like to do for testing for range of where you're gonna be, let's do this. Because your float rod cannot cast as far as your bottom rods because there's less weight. So I roughly go until it's close to the float, cast it out, put it in your rod holder if you have a rod holder on your boat, which I don't think the bass boats do. Come on. And then I go and I set my anchor. That way I don't get pulled off the spot. And then you just grab your other rods and you set them up. Make sure your time is where you want it. I like to put this right on that mark, but anywhere in here really works. It's nothing special. And then you can just go and grab your walker, your spoon, whatever, and I just chuck it past it, however far, as long as it's not going on shore. Wait for it to get to the bottom. That bottom rod's going to go off here in a second too. And just do your lift and drop back. And for your walker, just walk it back, like I was doing over on the other spot. Told you. Bottom rod, I don't know why. Seems to be working better, though. Oh, there's some big head shakes. To tell if it's going to be a larger fish, I find, watch how your rod goes and does this. The big dipping or whatever will sometimes tell you the size of the fish. The more the rod is freaking out and losing its mind, normally the bigger the fish. But I have found with the Goliaths, which I catch a lot more Goliaths over here than I do the African tigerfish. I will say the Goliaths move your rod tip a lot more. But that's probably a normal one, just because it's a little bizarre with these ones. But the more it moves your rod, the more it pulls your drag, the more it does the quote-unquote normal things, the bigger the fish is normally going to be. Goliaths, I find, are better at this spot than the other one. I don't know why. But it's always nice to have a mix because they're both worth a lot of money for the size of them. And just, it's really fast, easy way to make money. It can take time. It really just depends on your luck if you're paying attention, you know, because if you miss a couple fish, that's a lot of time, right? But I will say live bait's the way to go. I haven't really found a really easy, effective way that works every time for artificial. Still trying to figure that out. But I will say normally you can get one on the walker in each spot, but it can vary. So we'll see if we can't get one on the walker here. The other thing I will say is with the flat spoon, if you're using the larger version, the smaller African tigerfish sometimes can't take it, or the smaller fish can't take it. Just an FYI. So you might have to downsize. And there's another fish on this rod again. Oh, and we got one on the other one. So this is what I do here. Make sure that it's tight, and then I switch the rod to set the hook on this one, that way we don't miss it. And I try to figure out which one's bigger, because that's the one I really want to focus on. So this one seems to be a lot smaller. So we're going to focus and just keep going. Roughly 4 seconds each rod. It can be more, it can be less. But you really want to focus on your bigger fish because it's going to be worth more. But just make sure you're switching constantly and try and horse the smaller fish in as far as you can. Switch again. Because, and you are going to lose fish doing this. Nothing works all the time. But if you can, try and land both. I've had it where you have 3 because you were casting, which can be a hassle. So you just gotta balance the fish and how you're catching them and the rod you're using. You just have to, when I normally get them to 30, I just say screw it and just try and horse them in if I can. Sometimes they will. Sometimes you'll lose that other fish. It really just depends. This is going to be a decent fish, I think. Yeah, 20,000. This one got off, I think. Yeah, it did. It was on there for a second. It just didn't allow me to pick up the rod. That's annoying. But you are going to lose them. But if you can figure out which one is bigger, go for the bigger fish. Because as you saw, the trophy we landed was $20,000. So, easy, effective way to make money. I will try once more with the walker to see if they'll cooperate, just to let you guys know that it works. But you can also look, when you go to the species list, and it will show you what the fish like to eat. And then I will show you how much money I've made for how many fish. How much money? Yeah. Let's see if this is going to cooperate and work. Yep, see? Normally you'll get, so if you missed it the first time like I did there, because I'm still a little new with that, keep moving. and you might have it again try on the same cast, but normally if you cast it again, you'll get a second try for the fish. Normally. I'm not saying all the time, but normally they give you another chance. If they didn't give you another chance during that first original cast. And if you guys are wanting to know how I zoom in, I'm using R1. But they will take the walker, as you guys saw there. But yeah, 3 easy ways to catch fish that are worth a lot of money and a lot of XP. If you guys are buying a pack, the Congo pack is what I would suggest. It is a fair bit of money, but it will make you level up in XP and make you a lot of money really easy. So it's an easy way to do it. But yeah, that's that. That's part 3. I will have a few more not parts for this series unless I find some more and you guys want me to find some more or whatever. Leave comments on what you guys like. Show love to the Twitch and TikTok and YouTube if you guys would like. It's appreciated. And have a good day, and we will hopefully keep up with the everyday posting of YouTube and TikToks.